Okay.
All right, I call the order the public hearing and Plan Commission meeting on Wednesday, March 25th, 2026 at 6:14.
Yep.
Roll call, please.
President Gerke,
Here.
Trustee Baum,
Here.
Trustee Moonen,
Here.
Commissioner Ilhafen,
Here.
Commissioner Eberly,
Here.
Commissioner Howard,
Here.
Commissioner Lesser,
Here.
Planner Sumwalt,
Here.
Attorney Larson,
Here.
Engineer License, Engineer Lysis is present and in the audience, Administrator Green,
Here.
and Clerk Capazzo to record the minutes. Commissioner McCormick and Trustee Quinn are absent and excused.
Right. And I'm sorry, I was not listening to everything there, but you got the village board as well?
Correct.
Okay, all right. All right, so the first item is the public hearing. First, we will have our Lisbon planner, Oren, give his presentation overviewing the proposal. This will be followed by the petitioner addressing the commission if they so desire. Next, the plan commission and village board members will have the opportunity to ask questions for clarification from the village planner, the applicant, and/or staff. Then we will open the hearing up to comments for witness testimony from those that wish to speak tonight. This is on this item only. We have citizen comments on other items, which would be after this portion of after this public hearing. So if you do wish to speak, though, you are asked to fill out a speaker slip and present it to the village clerk before taking the stand. Those slips are in the back of the room. And that lists the rules for witness testimony that are included on that speaker's slip, which if needed, I can read in a few minutes. So at this point, the public hearing is now open. And before the planner gives this presentation, I'll ask our clerk to read the notice of the public hearing into the record. Oh, sorry.
Okay, notice is hereby given that a joint public hearing will be held by the Lisbon Village Board and Plan Commission on Wednesday, March 25th, 2026, during the regular Plan Commission meeting, which starts at 6:00 p.m. at the Richard Young Fire Station, North 54, West 26455 Lisbon Road, to solicit public comments on a request by applicants Garrett and Sarah Zandy on behalf of owner Jeff Zandy to rezone the southernmost 3.75 acres of the property known as West 229, North 8996 Colgate Road, tax key LSBT 0147997, from the B2 General Business District to the A3 Agricultural Residential Estate District. No changes are proposed to any lands within the UC Upland Corridor or C1 Conservancy districts.
All right, thank you very much. Everyone wants to hear from me all night. So, Oren, you want to go ahead and...
Yeah, I'll give a brief introduction here. So this is a proposed rezoning. The petitioners, Garrett and Sarah Zandy, are proposing to rezone, again, approximately 3.75 acres of Jeff Zandy's property on Colgate Road from B2 to A3. And the purpose is to facilitate the creation of a new lot on the south end for them to construct a new single-family residence. The comprehensive plan prescribes suburban density 2 residential, which has a lot size range of minimum 3 acres to 4.9 acre dwelling unit density. So the proposed 3 acre lot would be consistent with that proposed land use density. The adjacent parcel to the east is also currently zoned A3. As far as the conditions of approval, the main thing I'll point out would be condition 2, which is on the second page of both staff review, which is that the rezoning be subject to the Village of Lisbon's approval of a certified survey map. So again, the purpose of the request is to be able to create a developable lot for a new single-family home. So we want to tie the approval to that CSM, which is one of our new business items that we'll be discussing later this evening. So in your packets, you have the proposed certified survey map that shows the proposed boundaries. And there's some other matters to discuss regarding the CSM, which we can hold off on until we get to that item. So the remnant acreage of Jeff Zandy's parcel will end up being about 12.17 acres. And the proposed lot again would be 3.75 acres at the intersection of North Lisbon and Colgate Road.
Great. I assume the petitioner is here. Yep. All right. Do you wish to state anything? Add anything? Okay. All right. All right. So now it'll be the question, the time for anyone on the Plan Commission or Village Board if they have any clarifying questions for village staff or the applicant. Anyone have any questions at this point? All right. Then this is the chance we're opening it up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience who's here to speak about this item tonight? If there is, just to raise a hand so I can, if there's not, I won't read through everything I need to read through. It looks like there's
No one on Zoom besides staff.
Okay. All right. So I think we're set then. So if there's no other questions or no other comments, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:21. All right. Now we will move on to item 3, which is citizens' comments. Citizens are invited to share their comments with the Plan Commission if they so desire and limit their presentation to 3 minutes. I assume there's people here that like to make comments tonight? Yeah, okay. Sean, a second here. So you want them to fill out that form? Do you have their information or that's for the public hearing, but do you
That's just for the public hearing.
don't need that? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So if anyone wishes to speak, come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Anyone? This is open for anything. No.
You might want to point out this is their only opportunity to talk during our meeting.
So again, I'm not sure what everyone's here regarding. I might have some thoughts, but I mean, if it's on the agenda tonight or not on the agenda tonight, there's no opportunity for people other than the property owner and applicants to talk about that item once we get there. So if you're here to speak about something, now would be the time to do so. Okay, you have to come on up to the microphone. Yep.
Might need to get flipped on.
Ryan Shantz, W264N6504 Hillview Drive in Lisbon. I think majority of people here to have better understanding and potential concern for some of the proposals that's going through in terms of the city sewer that was posted. I'm not sure what else specifically I need to speak to, but I think most of the individuals here are from Beacon Hills, Thousand Oaks, Mountain Shadows, those subdivisions that are part of that potential plan.
Okay, all right. So right now we have the Plan Commission meeting. After the Plan Commission meeting, then we will be having a joint Plan Commission, Village Board, Public Works and Utility Committee meeting. We'll discuss that. Now that format of that meeting, we don't have that agendized for citizens.
We do not. And the reason there is no citizen comment, it's because the Village Board, Plan Commission, and Public Works and Utility Committee this is a long-term future planning, open discussion on where they want to go in the future. No action is going to be taken as a result of that meeting.
So what is because it requested feedback in that document. So who is that feedback directed towards? The board? The planning commission?
So if you're talking about the packet materials that were
Yes.
in there, that was the engineer and long-term planner, requesting feedback from Village Board, Plan Commission, and Public Works and Utility Committee.
Okay, so to be clear, that feedback is not interpreted for open discussion for
Not
citizens.
for the public.
Okay,
But of course, everyone's welcome. So this meeting might take another half an hour. I don't know how long. But then after that, then we will have this meeting, and that meeting, just like every other meeting, is open to the public. There won't be time for interaction, but it'll be a hour or 2 hour meeting, which will be broadcast and recorded, and it'll be out there if you want to watch it from home as well. And then for you, if based on what you heard or didn't hear, to contact any of us as you would like with your feedback.
okay. So
No action is going to be taken on this issue for, I don't know exactly when, but certainly not tonight, and it'll be sometime.
Can I address the chair? I think what he's trying to get at is he's looking to place his comments, but he's not quite certain which meeting it is. I think your
yeah,
comments are much better placed in the next joint meeting, but there's no place for you to do that. It's an educational only meeting. We're not looking to take any action
okay.
on it.
So
but-
for majority of
But for
people
for
who,
the purposes of our committee's meeting next, I think if they want to give comment here,
This is the only chance to do so tonight,
Right.
is I think to Mark's point.
yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to speak on behalf for a lot of people here and I welcome others in our subdivision to come up that we're a little confused as to the understanding of what and why this is coming up now, right? Lisbon is officially a village, right? The build out that would happen for Coles that can support additional homes as part of that larger lift station. It's hard to understand how that impacts us or what the benefit is for Lisbon. Instead, it on its face, it appears it's more beneficial to Sussex than it is for the citizens within Lisbon. So I welcome more information as we hear about this to understand why this is something that the Village of Lisbon wants to consider even as a future plan. So,
Yeah, thank you for that, and hopefully you'll hear some information if you stay around. If not, contact any of us.
okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up,
Jane Losi, W264 N6565 Hillview Drive, Sussex, Beacon Hills. The other, it's an adjacent to what he was just speaking about, is this new subdivision that's supposedly going in. That's west of Mary Hill Road. And it's not a continuation of, it doesn't appear to be by the name. And we have no notification, we have no understanding. That land looks like swampland. So we're all questioning what that is and the impact it's going to have for us on Hillview and Lakeview Drive.
so only thing I would like, I mean, we're not going to get back and forth, but can you speak to who received notices? It's within a certain number of feet of the property. That's item is on tonight's agenda,
Correct.
obviously.
We only send out notices for public hearings. So, and if there would have been a rezone, a comp plan amendment, anything like that, that requires a public hearing, we would have sent notices out to any property owner within 300 feet of the subject property's boundaries. Other than that, the public is noticed by matter of posted agendas.
I guess
Is
I
that what
find
you're
that very
looking for?
disrespectful to people that have been paying taxes and doing all of this and the impact it's going to have on all of us. So can someone explain to me why we don't get notification? I mean, I'm 5 houses up from that corner. So I'm not 300 feet, but we don't get any notification from it. People that are down at the bottom of the hill aren't getting notifications. People don't know about this. So can someone just give us some information as to why this is?
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're not able to have a back and forth, but we would, if you call, I mean, you're better off calling Elisa or Dan, or you can call me and we can explain the how the law is set up and how that all works.
Yeah,
with-
and
within
I'd
the-
just like to set precedent here too, that the public comment is limited to 3 minutes. It's
Okay.
not a back and forth between the board and yourselves, but if you have questions, reach out to either myself or Elise so we can get you information. Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
Fred Heinzelman, Hillview Drive, W264 and 6455. My question, I mean, it's always nice to see development, but you're talking about some huge, I guess the term is lumpy assets. You're putting in sewers and stuff. I don't know if you're putting in water for some of the homes down below. Who's bearing the cost of that? The people up on the hill, we've been here for 30, 40, 50 years. Are we going to be bearing some of that cost?
So I think, again, we'd be happy to kind of answer some of those questions. If you
Sure.
want to contact any of us
Sure.
tomorrow, we can provide some
But
responses to
you
you.
don't want to, you won't respond to,
It's not an agendized item, so
Okay.
there can't be discussion on it
Okay.
because it was not publicly noticed.
okay, when would
So
you
I
have
would
some-
say contact Village Hall and we can discuss outside of a meeting.
Okay,
And they can be pretty informative. I mean, so by all means, please reach out.
okay. Thank you.
No.
No, it's a public meeting. You're all welcome to stay. We just can't, there's no citizen comment period associated with the item later about sewer extension and the possibility of that. So you're all welcome to stay. It's a public meeting. But you just won't be provided another opportunity to speak outside of this citizen comment portion of the Plan Commission agenda. Once the joint meeting, which is another meeting, starts, there won't be, that agenda doesn't have a citizen comment period associated with it.
But that meeting might answer some of their questions. if
Correct.
you-
I
if you
think-
Stay
I think it
for it,
would.
or if
I
you
mean-
listen to it online.
Yeah, so we have the after the Plan Commission meeting here, which again, we've got
Yep.
5 items on the agenda. Some will be quicker than others. Then we'll go into that meeting and I think, some of the concerns that people have, very well could be addressed during that meeting. If not, certainly during future meetings. All right, so anyone else have any comments? Okay, you have to come on up to the microphone, state your name and address, please.
I'm Michael Tews, North 67, West 26876 Argyle Drive in Beacon Hills. I guess, is there going to be a time where there's going to be any back and forth Q&A for the residents who are affected? I've got a lot of questions. I'd love to have answers to some of them, preferably all of them. And I think they're similar to questions that everyone here has that are in that affected area.
So again, we don't know what, if you're talking about the sewer, you're talking about other items tonight,
I'm-
but.
I'm talking
No,
about
I'm just answering
sewer.
in general. So the
I think
staff,
that's what everyone's concern is.
staff will be able, and the village board will be able to answer any questions and have back and forth. It's just that we are not legally allowed to do so during this
Right, but
meeting.
could we set up a public forum to do that? Where we could have back and forth in Q&A? Not
We have-
today,
so
not
we have a
tomorrow, but
meeting-
set up a time because everyone's got questions that they want answered.
Mr. Chairman,
I got at least 10 of them written down.
so we can't do that now. State
Right.
law doesn't allow it. We're not agenda'd for it.
Mhm.
But there is going to be a meeting later today where some of those questions might be answered. And so those folks who are interested in this issue certainly should wait and see if their questions are answered in that meeting. And if they're not, they have an opportunity to submit those questions to staff or to the elected officials or appointed officials. And, we made a note that this gentleman wants to have a Q&A. That's certainly something that could be considered, but we can't speak to that tonight.
Okay. But I think everyone here would appreciate something like that, where we'd have an open forum to discuss this as adults and raise our objectives or objections and questions and have reasonable answers. All right?
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, and yeah, please, everyone, stay engaged. Anyone else? All right, again, this is the last time to make citizen comments. If anyone would like to make a comment. All right, so I'm gonna close the citizen comment portion and move on to item 4, which is approval of the meeting minutes from February 25th, 2026, public hearing and plan commission. Is there a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the February 25th, 2026 public hearing and plan commission meeting.
Is there a second to that motion? Right, Sherry made the motion, Sean seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye. I'm
Do I
sorry, I
have-
was moving my chair.
Did I catch everyone off guard? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Yep.
Item 5 is correspondence. This is not an item for action, I guess, given a recent change in state law. So under Act 12, but we have notices from Land and Stone Product and Payne and Dolan in regards to their extension of hours, again, under Act 12. I know that there's a representative from Land and Stone here and Payne and Dolan, I believe. Okay, all right. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to talk before the meeting. Everyone saw that in their packet. Do we have, I mean, if there's any questions, they could.
Yeah, any questions,
Yeah.
contact me or Dan.
All right, so thanks for coming, but we don't need to go any further. I think we're all set. I'm gonna move on to new business, item 6A, which is discussion and action regarding the rezone of the southernmost 3.75 acres of the Zandy parcel at W229 N 8996 Colgate Road, Lisbon tax key number 0147.997 from B2 to A3, excluding the UC and C1 portions, and a recommendation to the village board of the same. Orin, I think you gave your presentation kind of on this already, right?
Yep.
The property owner still doesn't have anything they want to add, I assume. So does anyone on the plan commission have any comments or questions?
I do have a question I just thought of. So you're gonna be building a home on.
And you're asking so if he's going to ask you a
Yeah.
question, if you could come on up, that would be appreciated.
I just thought of something real quick.
Is this about the rezone or is this more about the CSM?
About to see it. Well,
Not that it really
it's
matters.
a little of both, kind of.
Little both,
Just
you can go ahead and ask.
It's just a quick question. So the lot number 2 is what you're gonna be proposing a house on?
On the southernmost part, yes,
Okay. And the barn is gonna stay?
yes.
Okay. And just make sure you position a house in front of the barn,
Mhm.
or at least even with it. So that there's no problems. If you have plenty of room.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make that note so that it wasn't some surprise later on.
No, we already knew about that and we had
Okay.
already planned to make sure we put it in front of the barn of the right of easement to it.
No problem.
Alright.
Just a quick note.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the plan commission have any comments or questions? All right, are we ready for a motion then?
I'll make a motion to rezone southernmost 3.75 acres plus and minus of the Zandy parcel at W229 and 8996 Colgate Road, LSBT 0147997 from B2 to B3, excluding any UC or C1 portions, and recommendation to village board of the same.
I'll second. And that motion is A3? Subject to the conditions stated in
Yeah, by the planners.
by the planner.
Excuse me.
Robbie, you were the second?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion or any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. On the related item is the CSM, the discussion and necessary action for the request for a 2-lot CSM to divide the parcel located at the same address, same tax key number, and recommendation to the village board of the same. Now, Oren, you want to give your comments on the CSM here?
Yes. So the petitioner is proposing a two-lot certified survey map. Again, this goes hand in hand with the past item of the rezoning. The purpose of the rezoning is to facilitate the creation of this new lot, this 3.75 acre lot on the south end of Jeff Zandy's parcel. The proposed, again, the comp plan, the zoning, you know, with the proposed zoning, the lot size will accommodate the density of the land use, and the minimum requirements for that can be met with the lot as it's proposed. As Brian alluded to, the location of the home itself would have to be looked at and meet all those requirements, but the lot is capable of having all of those requirements met. One of the things I note in the staff review is that there's the existing barn on lot 2. During my review, I hearkened back to 2022 when this body had a proposal for a text amendment that ended up getting approved and adopted via ordinance 2022-11. When the village recodified the ordinance, that document did not end up getting included, and the village then subsequently adopted a new zoning code and repealed and recreated it. And so the language that's in the staff review that was intended to be part of the ordinance that would allow for a new lot to be created with a situation like this where there's an existing accessory structure on it is no longer in the code. So it's a inadvertent error that we need to correct. So the language, again, that was previously in the ordinance would have allowed the Plan Commission to consider a situation like this and allow the creation of a lot where there's an existing accessory structure like this barn, subject to some conditions. And I've discussed the conditions that were in that code language that was previously adopted. The petitioner's on board with meeting those requirements, and the correction here, if you will, moving forward would be for this certified survey map approval to be conditioned on the village amending their current code to readopt this language that was intended to be in there. Some minor amendments changing town to village because this was back when Lisbon was still a town. So the old ordinance language referenced the old municipal status. So now we think we can get that on for the April meeting, get a public hearing noticed for that and time for that, and then essentially have the CSM and the rezoning on the same village board meeting moving forward. So again, there's a condition info at staff review. If you see condition number 2, I'm sorry, condition number 1, so which says subject to the village's approval of a text amendment with the language from the ordinance 2022-11 authorizing the Plan Commission to allow the creation of a new lot where an existing accessory building or buildings will remain on the new lot prior to construction of the new residence. Again, the reason that's needed is because previously the ordinance read, and currently the way that it reads is you can't have an accessory structure prior to the principal structure being present or under construction. And so you would not have been able to entertain approving something like this previously. So other conditions would be 2 and 3, which are verbatim the conditions from that ordinance 2022-11, A and B from that document, which states the applicant shall submit to and obtain approval as to form from the village attorney and as to the amount from the building inspector, a letter of credit or cash in the amount of 115% of the removal and restoration costs relative to the existing accessory building as determined by the village building inspector. This financial surety shall be submitted to the village prior to recording of the certified survey map. So the next condition states that the applicant shall submit to and obtain approval as to form from the village attorney and village building inspector an agreement which would allow the village to access the property and remove the existing accessory structure at the applicant's expense if the applicant fails to obtain an occupancy permit for the new residence on the new lot within 2 years of creation of the new lot. Upon the property owner showing valid cause and in the best interest of the village, the plan commission may grant one extension of the original 2-year period set forth above for a period not to exceed 12 months. Again, the intent of those conditions in the original ordinance was to ensure that a property owner goes forward with building the principal structure so that we don't end up again with an accessory structure on a lot without a principal building being the home. I talked to Mr. Zandy. They intend to build or get going on their building as soon as they're able to get the lot approved and recorded and the tax parcel number issued. And so he felt like they could meet that time frame and is willing to work with the village on getting the letter of credit and the agreement documents when the time comes for that. It is the village's preference that happen, that the financial surety and the agreement get done before the recording of the CSM. I think I owed you that answer. So the other conditions that both have on here are just some technical matters regarding items to be shown on the certified survey map. There's an existing wetland on the remnant portion, lot 1, and there's some environmental corridor. Myself and the village engineer were okay with best available data being used. So having your surveyor use the county's existing GIS data for that is going to be acceptable in this instance because they're not near your proposed lot or new home. So that's what I had to go over from my staff review. Again, if there's any questions from the plan commission, I'd be happy to help answer those. And the
I have a
petitioner is
question.
here. Yep.
Orin, with regard to the barn,
Yeah.
this is primarily for the property owner's knowledge. Does the square footage of the barn, since it's an accessory building, does that fall within the allowed square footage for an accessory building on what the size that the new lot will be? Or is it over and will be an legally non-conforming building and they won't be allowed to put any more accessory buildings on the lot?
So as far as our new standards that were adopted, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think that's something that we addressed with our zoning code update. I did look also at the setback distances of the barn based on the new lot boundaries. And it will be over 50 feet from the new, it is currently 50 feet from the lot boundaries. It will continue to be once the new lot line is drawn up. So it will have the opportunity to house animals potentially.
But the square footage is
But the square footage,
under the maximum allowed square footage for a lot that size.
correct.
Okay.
I have a question. Do we have enough time between now and the April meeting to get all this done in time? You mentioned that they want to start building right away. They won't be able to build until we get through the April Plan Commission and the subsequent village board meeting.
Yeah, our 90-day deadline as far as state statute and our code go for the review and approval of a certified survey map puts us at May 27th. And so we've got time to hit the May meeting.
Just so everybody understands what the timeframes are, because you can't go out there and start digging tomorrow. I just, believe me, some people leave here and they don't quite understand that. I just want to make sure that the schedule that you've put together, or I have no problem with, as long as we can meet. Everybody knows what the milestones are and when you're going to be issued the magic piece of paper. Okay.
So,
That's
Orin,
fine.
I got a question.
Yep.
What's the advantage to approving this with these conditions 1, 2, and 3 now versus waiting till the next meeting when the ordinance is changed and then voting on this after that, so you don't have to have these conditions?
I think the benefit for me is that it gives the property owner some assurance that this body is on board with the previous code language and the fact that they're willing to allow the creation of a lot, prior to having to have the conversation about adopting the new ordinance.
Kurt, we also have a 90-day timeline from when a CSM is submitted to approval, so we want to make sure that there is no issues with any of those things that may occur. Or if for some reason the next meeting, you know, you guys had questions or concerns and then needed to delay it, this would get those questions and concerns out of the way first.
Mr. Chairman, just to piggyback on that, one reason that as a staff, we discussed this and thought this process made sense is that we're dealing with an ordinance that was adopted just not very long ago, just a few years ago, that would have allowed this. And it appears to us that it was just inadvertence that is the reason it's not the law today. It was not put in the code. It was not preserved from the repeal that went through that codification process. And so we assume that this is still the intent of the Plan Commission and the board. And we didn't want to hold this up due to that apparent technical glitch that happened. If it were a text amendment that were completely out of the blue and new and trying to allow something new under the sun, I think we might not have reached the same, we might not have gone this way.
Any other questions or discussion on item B? Matt, are you ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend to the village board the 2-lot CSM that's been submitted to divide the parcel located at W229 North 8996 Colgate Road, tax key number LSB 201479997, and recommendation to the village board of the same to include planners' comments, engineers' comments, and as stated in the planners' review comments, the approval of a text amendment with the language from ordinance number 2022-11, authorizing Plan Commission to allow the creation of a new lot.
I'll second.
Brian, that was you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any additional discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. All right, we'll be in touch and I think we'll see you next month. Right, on item C, which is discussion and necessary action regarding the request for a 2-lot CSM to divide the Alpine Hills parcel known as LSBT 0224.999.003 and recommendation to village board of the same. Lauren?
So if you think back to the
CSM.
last Newman project that we had before the Plan Commission, which would have been just across Silver Spring Drive from this proposed project. We similarly did that was the Homestead Ridge subdivision. There was a 2-lot certified survey map associated with that as well, whereby the developer took the original parcel, broke off a portion for the property owner in that instance for them to retain, and then proposed to develop their subdivision on the second lot of that CSM. We have a similar situation here where we've already entertained a few different iterations of this Newman project for the Alpine Hills subdivision. The developer intends to convey a parcel to their adjacent neighbor to the south, Ausblick Inc., the ski hill. And in order to facilitate that, they've decided that the certified survey map would be the best process for all those involved. And the proposal, again, is a 2-lot CSM. Newman is looking to create, they'll be retaining the Lot 1, which is the bulk of the property area, which will be 51.52 acres. Lot 2 has an area of 1.96 acres approximately. And Lot 2, again, would be conveyed to Ausblick Inc. for their future use as an expansion of their parking lot. As far as the technical comment, folks recommending on the CSM that Lot 2 actually be designated Outlot 1, since that parcel is intended for future development and not going to be part of anything that's going to be developed as part of the subdivision. And so the petitioner did not have an issue with making that change. In my staff review, I kind of go over some of the history of this project, which I'll just reiterate. So we had a rezoning and comp plan amendment that both previously took place for this project. On June 18th, 2025, the village board adopted ordinance 2025-08, rezoning the subject property from A10 to its current R2, which allows, again, we can talk about this more during the subdivision portion, but it'll allow the proposal to move forward at the densities that are being prescribed for that. And on April 9th, 2025, the village board adopted ordinance 2025-06, amending the comp plan. During that process, the portion of Lot 2 or Outlot 1, as we're prescribing it to be, was rezoned to match the land use of the Ausblick property, again, with this conveyance in mind at a future date. And so the secondary environmental corridor remains. It was adjusted to match a on-site delineation that was done by a professional that Newman hired. And the isolated natural resource area remains, and the portion that Ausblick is going to get was changed to recreational. And so that's teed up for them once this new lot gets created and conveyed to them. It has the land use that they will need. Moving forward, there will be some things for them to still do, which I talk about in number 3, the future use of Lot 2 or Outlot 1. So folks recommending that a note be added to the CSM stating, upon the conveyance of Lot 2, Outlot 1 in parentheses, to the adjoining property to the south owned by Ausblick Inc., said outlot shall not be improved, developed, or utilized by Ausblick Inc. until such time as it has been officially combined with their existing parcel, incorporated into their existing conditional use approval, and has obtained separate approval of a site plan and plan of operation. One of the reasons for doing the CSM now is that it's going to give Ausblick Inc. time to get all of their ducks in a row for all of those processes that need to take place, and it won't hold up Newman's development. They'll be able to move at their own schedule and pace, should all their approvals be granted, and Ausblick Inc. can work on, again, a CSM to combine this new outlot that we're creating with their parcel and a conditional use amendment and site plan for how they intend to use the property moving forward. One of the other issues that we looked at in this is access. So the Lot 2 or Outlot 1 has frontage on Mary Hill Road, but there's a narrow strip of wetland that currently is on that eastern property boundary along the road. So we're asking for another note that just states that Outlot 1 have access to Lake Drive, and which it won't need because nobody's going to do anything with it until its conveyance to the adjoining property to the south owned by Ausblick Inc., at which time Outlot 1 shall not have access to Lake Drive and will obtain access through Ausblick Inc.'s property. Again, I don't think the intent of either entity is for traffic that could potentially access the ski hill in the future to use Lake Drive or the subdivision. And so this just memorializes that it's going to be a lot. It has to have access somehow, even if it's an outlot, until such time as Ausblick Inc. incorporates it and figures out their site plan for how they're going to have it accessed through their current use and property. And so the petitioner was amenable to that. And we've got some other technical comments from the village engineer. And I don't think there's any issues with those either from the developer. So that's what I've got to go over. That kind of outlines conditions 1, 2, and 3 in both staff review. And again, lot 1 would be the proposed Alpine Hills subdivision, which we'll be talking about in our next item.
Aaron, I think you addressed this in your comments, but I don't know exactly how this was reconciled. How is, if we approve this, it's outlot 1 here, but it's still shown as outlot 5 in the subdivision plat? Or is that gonna be stripped off the subdivision plat?
Yeah, there's an updated version of that, and we've got a comment in that staff review regarding that technical aspect of it as well.
Okay.
Yep.
That's all I had. Any other comments? I assume there are.
Yeah, I got a question. So your comment 3 about the lot having access to Lake Drive. I prefer not to have any access to Lake Drive now or in the future, just to prevent that opportunity for the ski hill having access on the Lake Drive when they incorporate that property. So is there a reason why we have to state that it has to have access to Lake Drive?
It has to have access somewhere. And if you look at again, the fact that there's a wetland on the east side of it, it's going to be a situation where someone would have to get a DNR permit to place wetland fill in order to put a driveway to access it from Mary Hill. And it's also probably in a location where nobody would want another driveway on Mary Hill, because it would be between Lake Drive's extension to Mary Hill and the current access drive to the Ausblick Inc. parcel. And so nobody's proposing to have any access, but by default, a lot, even if it's outlots don't technically have to have access, but this is eventually going to be a developable parcel. And so we want at staff
It's gonna be
level.
developed by Ausblick Ski Hill.
Correct.
Not by Alpine Hills.
Correct.
So they don't need access to that outlot.
Correct, which is why the condition states that it will be from Ausblick's property when the conveyance takes place. So let's scenario play it this way, Kurt. If the sale doesn't occur or conveyance, however that's happening, if it doesn't happen, then what becomes of the outlot? And
That's a good
it
question.
opens a whole, right? So
Yeah,
everybody's
That hasn't been
intending.
decided yet.
Everybody's intending that it goes to Ausblick, and that's why our condition states that when that conveyance happens, now the access is coming from them.
Outlots don't need an access. You said that yourself. So I recommend just remove that comment, because there's not going to be any question in the future when Ausblick Ski Hill makes that a parking lot, that they're not going to get access onto Lake Drive. Just remove the comment. No access on the Lake Drive.
But then they would have to redesignate that from lot. No,
It's already called an outlet.
Oh, it's a lot on the CSM.
Yeah, we're conditioning on
They,
requesting that it be
they
an
are
outlet.
requesting that they
Yeah.
make it an outlot.
Yeah, I'm okay making an outlet, but don't have access to
No,
the Lake Drive.
It's a lot on
Wait.
the CSM, not an outlet.
No. Oren said that he's requested that it be changed to an outlot. So it's changes to outlot 1.
But again, this recommendation for this condition came along with the conversation that it is being proposed currently as a lot. What we're reviewing, what you have in front of you is it as a lot. And so,
So if it becomes an outlot, this CSM technically does not show that on here. It'd just be the whole parcel for the CSM that we're approving. Because outlot would be part of lot 1.
no, an outlot is separate from, so lot 1 would be its own entity and the outlot would be its own entity. They'd be separate.
So I mean, I understand, just on the same topic, I understand why some would desire, maybe when the subdivision developer conveys this, that they don't want access through the subdivision. But I will say that Osplick's access point to the parking lot right now, the single access point is certainly less than ideal and could be improved if it was moved or if there was a second one, but that's something I guess that we could take up at a later time.
Yeah, that would also be looked at when they come forward with their conditional use permit amendment, CSM and site plan for any potential future development of the planned parking expansion.
All right, so any other discussion? Are we ready for a motion?
Well, I would just, whoever's gonna make the motion, I'm not gonna make it, but if the motion's gonna be that there be no access from what will be outlot 1 on the CSM to Lake Drive, then that's gotta be stated in the motion and voted on, so.
All right,
I don't agree personally that it shouldn't have access to Lake Drive, because right now that coming out on Mary Hill is gonna be with Lake Drive coming out just immediately north of there, it's gonna be a nightmare, in my opinion. Well, anyway. so I
Well,
make
when
a
we had
motion.
public comment, that was a main issue that was brought up by the public, was making sure that we don't have traffic flowing onto Lake Drive for Osplick Ski Hill. That was the main concern that was brought up.
But I
So
think-
I'm just reiterating.
But
Yeah.
doesn't motion-
Number 2 says they can't do anything with it until Osplick owns it. And then once Osplick owns it, Lake Drive goes away. But really, nothing's gonna happen.
No, Lake Drive does not go away.
The access point to Lake Drive goes away from that. From that.
and again, and that issue can be addressed at that point in time. Again, I think there's some argument to be made that you could have a right, turn only access point out onto that road. But again, maybe the developer and Osplick aren't interested in that, but I mean, we would need to discuss the overall safety if they're gonna do a change in their plan of operations. I could see the argument both ways, but I for one would agree with Joe that I would prefer to have this motion to approve without the restriction on the access.
I mean, that lot, once this CSM is approved, that lot is developable.
Not with the conditions that we have. If we make the motion with,
There's no condition that I see in there unless I'm missing it, that says that outlot 1 is gonna be a parking lot. And it has to be a parking lot. It's a developable lot.
Yeah, number 2 says they can't do anything until Osplick owns it.
I know, but Osplick could put a house on there.
Yeah, the outlot status would have to be removed one way or another. One way to do that is through, a one lot certified survey map where the municipality is removing that restriction. But the one of the reasons we're asking for the outlot status is that is in and of itself a way to reserve a piece of property for future development, which is the intent for this. Another potentiality would be to combine it with another future property for future development, which is also the intent for this one. And so it meets really both of those bars for creating an outlot. And the outlot status will preclude development until that gets removed. And that the process for that will be that CSM combining it with the Osplick remainder of their property.
they can't do any development until they come back here. I mean, that's really, if it's approved based on these conditions, that's the way that.
But we're trying to make that crystal clear with our condition there.
Yeah.
That's why it's in.
Approve it as is, there's gonna be no traffic on Lake Drive, really, because you can't build anything or do anything. And then once they get it, they'd have to come back here and that access goes away.
Or that's when the access is
Yeah.
debated between the and plan commission level. They can't make improvements to the property and have access as the way it's approved.
I think the way the condition 2 is written, assures that outlot, should Osplick not get it, would have then could become a developable lot with access to Lake Drive. But if it gets transferred to Ausblick, Ausblick cannot have, based on how this is reading, would have, the only access point from that outlet would be to their property and not onto Lake Drive. So I think that addresses your concern about future access to Lake Drive. And I think from what we heard at the public hearing, you know, that was also a concern of the residents of the Ausblick exiting onto Lake Drive. And that way this condition is written now would prevent that. If I'm reading it correctly.
Yep, that's the intent.
Yep.
Again, the intent is to memorialize everyone's hope that this gets conveyed and then eventually gets combined with the Ausblick property for their future use. That's what everybody intends. This is just conveying that intent.
All right, are we ready for a motion? All right, I don't usually make motions, but if everyone's gonna not make a motion, all right, I will make a motion to approve the 2-lot CSM to divide the Alpine Hills parcel known as LSBT 0224.999.003. I recommend to the village board of the same with the planner comments as detailed.
And engineer?
Yep, and you too, Mitch.
Okay.
Is there a second to my motion?
One second.
All right, I heard Rob first. Is there any additional discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. All right, on to 6D, which is discussion and necessary action regarding request for a waiver to extend the maximum cul-de-sac length for the proposed Alpine Hills subdivision on the parcel known as LSBT 0224.999.003. Oren?
So this is part of the overall subdivision request. So if it pleases the chair, I'll give my full background on the preliminary plat, if that's okay.
Yep, that sounds great.
All right, and I'll be sure to cover that as part of it. So first thing I want to point out in the staff review, I highlighted that just under the March 22nd, 2026 deadline for reviewing this, that the village's review timeline was extended in writing by the developer via an email received on January 24th, 2026, when the topic of the CSM and the conveyance of the parcel to Ausblick came up at a planner appointment meeting. The developer decided at that time to pump the brakes and have these both at the same meeting so that the plan commission could look at them and consider them both at the same time. So again, our time frame has been extended to review this preliminary plat and consider it. If you look at my overview, you'll note, again, I referenced the rezoning and the comp plan amendment that I brought up during the CSM conversation, but also that the village previously reviewed a similar concept plan for this proposed subdivision on November 3rd, 2022. And they were in conversations with the county regarding this subdivision prior to that. So I just wanted to point out how long this has been in the pipeline and being worked on. So it's come a long way and here we are. So the comp plan is consistent. The zoning has been done. It's zoned R2, which can accommodate the density of lots that's being proposed. I've got the preliminary plat up on the screen. Again, this is a 25 lot subdivision with 9 outlots. It does include new public road connections at Court A. And Lakeview will be extended from the Beacon Hills Addition Number 1 subdivision to the west to Mary Hill Road. And speaking of Court A, that's the segue to talk about the proposed waiver. The proposed length of Court A, which would be on the north end of the development and line up with the future access to the Vista Run development in Sussex, is proposed to be approximately 950 lineal feet. The Village Land Division and Development Ordinance, Chapter 20 states cul-de-sacs designed as permanent installation and not to be extended at any time shall not be longer than 600 feet in length, except where topographical and particular conditions warrant an extension, and will be subject to a waiver and modification to this ordinance at the sole discretion of the Plan Commission per section 20.1961 of the Land Division and Development Ordinance. Again, the petitioner is requesting a waiver to the cul-de-sac length requirements as part of the preliminary plat application. According to the petitioner, throughway options were limited with this site due to the environmental constraints. There's a secondary environmental corridor that goes through the center of this parcel. I think we heard a resident state that the parcel looked like a swamp. That's that portion that I think is being referred to. And so the county and the village all wanted to see the natural resources on the site protected, and the developer did as well. And so rather than propose a crossing that would have impacted those resources, they've proposed a layout that includes a northern portion and a southern portion, with the bulk of the natural resources in the middle remaining untouched. And so that's how we get the proposed layout for Court A. The other limitations that are mentioned by the petitioner are county highway restrictions to the north and general geometry of the site. So they maybe would have liked to have had another exit there. Maybe everybody would have liked there to be another, exit point of the subdivision onto Silver Spring, but that wasn't an option. And so that's the nature of the request. So there's specific considerations that the Plan Commission is supposed to make, which are listed in the staff review. And we always ask that these waivers be addressed via separate motion. And so that's why it's in the agenda first under our new business. Regarding the paved path, so the petitioner is proposing to develop a 6-foot asphalt path parallel to Court A with connection to VV or Silver Spring. So even though the road won't extend to Silver Spring, there will be a pedestrian connection there, which is in between lots 5 and 6, which I'm kind of circling with the cursor now. You can see the pedestrian connection going out there. And again, it will follow this path down Court A to the intersection again with Mary Hill and be across from the Vista Run development. As far as the environmentally sensitive areas, FOTH has some recommendations that the petitioner clarify the boundaries of the conservation easement on the face of the preliminary plat, just to allow it to be visually more distinct than the property boundaries and natural resource feature boundaries, some of the other things going on the plat. We're recommending adding a conservation easement to lots 20, 21, 24, and 25 associated with the isolated natural resource area on those lots, and recommending adding language to the face of the preliminary plat regarding the restrictions of what the conservation easement is for, what people can and can't do. The preliminary plat includes soil boring locations. Ground elevations are also shown on the grading plan. As far as the stormwater management, there is 3 stormwater ponds on outlots 1, 3, and 4, and storm sewer planned. The preliminary stormwater management plan has been submitted along with the preliminary plat. There are preliminary civil plans that were provided as well that include the roadway and storm sewer plan and profiles, and then the overall preliminary grading and detailed grading plans. The petitioner also provided a landscape plan for the Plan Commission's consideration, which I'm bringing up now. The landscape plan includes a landscaped berm along the north side of the development adjacent to Silver Spring Drive. It also includes a landscape berm along Mary Hill for on lot 13 within an easement. And then there are proposals for landscaping the entrance areas again along Mary Hill for Court A along Mary Hill for the extension of Lake Drive. And then based on feedback from the public hearing for the rezoning, there was also a landscaped boulevard on the proposed connection point to the existing Beacon Hills Edition 1 subdivision. And so that was something that I think was the direct response of the developer from the feedback from that prior public hearing. So the street names have yet to be determined. The petitioner will continue to work with the engineer on those. That's why we have Court A on here for the preliminary plat. We don't have any signage at this time. When the developer has that, they'll bring that forward. We do have comments from Waukesha County, which I believe were included in the packet, correct, Madam Clerk?
Yep, I believe.
Yes, they are.
Yep, they're right after your report in the packet.
Okay. And we've got our, in addition to the normal conditions, I've got some of the technical comments from FOTH, which are conditions 1 through 8. Again, one of those being something that came up in our discussion of the CSM, that the approval would be subject to designating what was being called Outlot 5 on the original preliminary plat as proposed as Outlot 1 of CSM, fill in the blank. We'll use the number of whatever gets assigned when the 2-lot CSM that we had on our previous item gets approved, so that the two documents are consistent. And then subject to updating note 11 to designate proposed Outlot 5 as Outlot 1 of CSM blank. Subject to adding a note to the preliminary plat stating Outlot 1 of CSM blank shall have access to Lake Drive until its conveyance to the adjoining property to the south owned by Ausplik Inc., at which point in time Outlot 1 of CSM blank shall not have access to Lake Drive and will obtain access through Ausplik Inc.'s property. Again, consistent with the condition on our past item. And I won't get into the other technical items unless there's specific questions from the Plan Commission, but they go back to the things I brought up during the other portions of my staff review. So again, I'd be happy to help answer any questions from the Plan Commission. The petitioners are here if there's any specific questions for them.
You guys want to make any comments at this point, or you can come on up?
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Brian Lindgren, Newman Developments. I guess I'll say I appreciate the review and the conversations have been had. We've reviewed all the conditions. We have no objection. All the conditions will be met prior to any executable documents.
All right, go ahead, Joe. Brian?
Okay, I've got a number of items. Number one, and it deals with both the county's comments and also the preliminary plat, and it has to do with number one, the continuation of the asphalt path between lots 5 and 6 out to the county, incorporating also the county's comments regarding bicycle accommodation along VV. Where is that shown?
On the preliminary plat, that's the
Yeah.
asphalt path.
Pardon me?
The asphalt path that,
No, it doesn't continue onto VV, and there's no accommodation that I see on the preliminary plat to deal with the county's comment to comply with their bicycle plan along VV.
Is that Outlot 2?
Yeah, it's Outlot 2. There's nothing there. It's nothing more than an outlet.
It is Outlot 2 on the preliminary
yes.
plant, and it should be designated as paved bike path.
Right. And also something needs to be installed and shown on here along VV, according to the county's comments.
yes, so Outlot 2 is the intent of, that is the paved path. Now, this is a
Okay,
preliminary plat,
it's,
so
that's
things
not,
like asphalt
that's not,
paths
that's not where
can
it's
be
shown.
addressed on the developer's agreement. The intent, and was discussed at past meetings, was to take the path from the back corner, that'd be the northwest corner of Lot 6 on this preliminary plat, which is the western edge of the development, run along VV, and instead of staying along VV, coming into the neighborhood and running along Court A, and that would substitute and meet the requirement.
Okay, so why isn't it stated on there when the asphalt path is only shown on Court A? That's my question. There's no accommodation on the north edge of Lot 6 or in that outlot 2 for a bicycle path.
The path is drawn on the plat in the right of way outside of Lot 6 in Highway VV.
But it's not marked on the.
It's not.
If a note needs to be added, I have no concern. with it.
And note
Okay,
should
I mean,
be added
it's-
also to
I
outline.
think the appropriate document to address that would be the developer's agreement.
Well,
So,
Orin, do you,
I
I
can't
don't,
get-
we're not having the greatest back and forth. Do you want to jump in here? Do you understand what the question is? And
yeah, under, no objection to the path. We're intend to put it in.
I think it is addressed in the, as part of the application, in the application materials from the petitioner. But again, you've heard from
what would
the,
that be?
you've heard from the
Because
petitioner that they're
if it,
not.
if it's not shown, it doesn't exist.
Orin,
And I do not want to rely upon a future developer's agreement for something that we're dealing with tonight, which is the preliminary plat.
so, Orin, are you fine with having that added to the plat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Two items.
fine.
I
Okay.
want to make sure.
So yes, so we're
Yeah.
we're gonna be nice and respectful, and if we can insist
I'm
on,
just being respectful,
We can-
Chairman, but
we
I,
can insist on whatever we'd like. I'm just asking
Okay.
that the tone be non-confrontational.
it's not confrontational. There's two items. One is a paved path consistent with what's shown in the note on Court A to also comply with Outlot 2. That's number one. Number two is an accommodation on Lot 6 for a bicycle path per the county's comments and inconsistent with the county bicycle plan. Those are two separate items. They need to be on here.
We will add notes to the preliminary plat to make it clear that where the path will go.
Okay, I want to know how the bicycle path on Lot 6 is going to be accommodated. It's not going to be accommodated in the county's right of way. Is there going to be an accommodation on the
Why
north
not?
edge of Lot 6?
Which could run into their.
I think behind my,
Discharge.
so the path being outside of the boundary of Lot 6 along within the right of way of Highway VV, I would argue is a better location for it if that path ever continues further west. Because then we're talking about Mr. Farley's property would have to continue that path.
Well, eventually, when the bicycle path, according to the county's bicycle plan, gets incorporated, that's got to be tied into that. And if I'm looking on the landscape plan for Lot 6, and I don't see any accommodation. On the landscaping plan, it does say path. That should be a paved path from the cul-de-sac through that outlot out to there. Then how do you deal with in the county? It's got we're gonna have a bicycle path into the ditch. We have a bicycle path to nowhere.
I wouldn't disagree with that. It goes nowhere west.
It will eventually, if you,
Yeah,
do you have a copy of the county's bicycle plan?
not their specific plan. They have a recreational park plan.
Okay, you should
No.
contact the Waukesha
Well,
County.
we're in touch with. we've
Okay.
been-
And
a lot of
talk to the
communication with the highway
driver for your
department.
comments here because
Yeah.
he was the one that brought it up to me.
Yeah.
Okay,
We have no objections to the county comments. We'll meet all the county comments.
okay, that's the first item. Item number two is the entrances of Lake Drive and Court A. They're not shown on here, and is there a sufficient width in Mary Hill Drive to put in the XL and decel lanes on both sides of Mary Hill? and coordinate them with what you put in on the east side in Vista Run.
So Court A aligns with Big Sky Drive and Vista Run and was designed to match the Vista Run entrance.
Including the XL and decel lanes?
Yes, they're on the
Big
plat.
Sky has them already.
Big Sky has them already.
Yeah.
That's in. And then we would match that on the west side for new Court A. And then, Lake Drive, the,
You just set down
Excel decel lanes are drawn on the plat. These are not engineering plans, but it is on the plat and it will fit within the right of way.
Okay, and then the existing box culvert under Mary Hill needs to be extended, both east and west,
What box culvert are you speaking of?
right where the, whatever this thing is called, it's an unnamed creek that crosses Mary Hill Drive. It runs from the edge of pavement to the edge of pavement. It needs to be extended east and west.
Why?
It should have been part of the Village of Sussex's approval of your work in Vista Run, and the same thing on the other side. It's not wide enough.
Lauren, do you want to add, you want to jump in on that issue? Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, well, why is, I don't
No,
know.
I would defer to the village engineer regarding
Right, Mitch?
box
I
culvert.
mean, we're making no improvements or in that area of Mary Hill Road. I don't know why it would need to be extended.
So
So,
let me
but-
just, we have, I mean, we have people that are on the commission, and then we have our paid experts here, so let's have Mitch address that.
If we were going to be making improvements in that area, I would recommend, yes, that we would extend that culvert, but at this point, we're not touching that area of Mary Hill Road, so.
Mary Hill is going to be redone.
Yep.
It's going to be widened as a result of this development and Vista Run.
And
And my-
until we really look at that, Joe, and really do the planning on what we're going to do for widths and what we're going to design and what will work with the traffic count and so forth, we really shouldn't be making these improvements now until we know what that plan is going to be in the future.
I understand that, but my concern is I don't understand why the Village of Lisbon and or the Village of Sussex, because I still don't know who's got jurisdiction on Mary Hill Road, should pay for those improvements when they're being caused by the developments on the east and west side of Mary Hill Road.
And that can be a discussion with Sussex in the future when we do the planning.
Well, if we don't make it a stipulation of approval of this development in Lisbon and whatever Sussex does and they want to pay for their part of it, that's fine. But if we don't do it now, when the time comes when Mary Hill's going to be improved, and I don't think it's going to be too far in the future, then Lisbon gets stuck with the cost. And that's what I don't understand, why that would happen. Because the improvements on Mary Hill are being caused by those two developments.
To state it in a different manner or tone, is that something that can be required at this step in the process for a preliminary plat on that road? Maybe that's a big question, we'll go.
What? No.
You explain to me what we're talking about.
So they're right where it's shown right now on the screen.
Yeah.
There's a waterway that goes through there. There's a culvert that goes through there. It's undersized. It's short right now on both sides of the roadway. And with the concern is with the increased traffic count with all the development, that we should be extending that culvert and making some improvements to that area right now. But with knowing what we know from all the developments that have been happening in this area, there will need to be some significant improvements to Mary Hill Road. And when we do that planning, we need to be looking at the design of that at that time, is what I believe.
I don't know why the cause of the improvements to that box culvert isn't being paid for by the developer, who happens to be the same on the east and west side of Mary Hill.
So
We're gonna have, so Eric, go ahead.
It's something we could look at, of whether it'd be appropriate to expect the developer to pay for something there, but in general, what you're telling me is that culvert is undersized at present. That has nothing to do with this development.
I disagree
If
with
they
you.
were creating additional stormwater that was contributing to that issue, that would be something that we could that would be a reason why the developer would need to contribute to that. But if it's an existing condition, it's already there.
It's already there and it works today. But with the increased development on both sides of Mary Hill, that does not work. Because Mary Hill's width has to be done. The capacity of that box culvert, as Mitch said, is insufficient. It's all being caused by the development here.
So the difference between what I'm hearing Eric say is that if we're talking about the road width versus the amount of water that comes off the site. So your comments were regarding the amount of water coming off the site. And the theory is that there should not be an increase in the amount of stormwater that leaves the site after development, correct?
Well, if there is increase, that might trigger a need to replace the culvert, and then the developer might have to contribute to that, but.
And I think that's the point Joe's trying to make is especially this western development, because it's so many wetlands and involved in this area, there's likely going to put an increase flow through there, which will be caused by the developments. And there's also wetlands on the other side of the roads, which the other development is causing to create more flow.
So it's not something that we can sit here and say it's likely to happen. It's an engineering question, and you know, they may have engineered plans to store the water. I don't know. It's something that could be looked at.
Is that something that can be could be a stipulation in the developer's agreement that should it be determined that this development is causing this, what did you call it, box culvert to be undersized, that then in turn it would get replaced and be the cost of the developer?
It could very well be today it's undersized. Before the first shovel happens with this development. That box culvert is probably 50 years old. It could be undersized today without this development. With this development, it certainly is undersized. That's all I'm saying is it's.
So you understand that where Eric's coming from is that if it's already undersized, that's not something you could.
No, and what I can tell you right now, I just pulled up their stormwater management report, and for the peak flows that they have designed for 1 year, 5 year, 10, 100 year, they're significantly reducing the peak flows that are going to be leaving the site. So they're actually reducing the amount of water that will be flowing to those areas. So
I think it's worth pursuing though, when we redo that road, that we talk to Sussex about cost sharing that entire road, including the box culvert.
Well, one of the questions I've asked for since this development first came on is who owns Mary Hill Road? Did you ever get an answer to that, Mitch? Well, I would not.
That's how Maple Avenue was.
I
It was
don't
down the
think
middle.
so.
As far as I know, it's right down the middle, but I would have to go and double check.
Because you can't rely upon the GIS for that answer. It's not a GIS answer.
Joe, you had some other comments you'd like to keep on going, or before we move on to someone else and see what they have?
No, I was told here, and it's on record, that that Court A with the accel and decel lanes on both the east and west side match. And I've never seen the plans for it. I've never seen the plans for what's in Vista Run, nor have I seen the plans for the ones that are in Alpine Hills. And if they don't match, it looks to me driving down Murray Hill, it just doesn't look right.
Lauren or Mitch, what do you have on that?
So we still are reviewing the plans, stormwater management report. We'll have a full review of that and I'll be sending that both to the developer and I'll be sending it to the village as well so they can see what our, findings are. We will look at that specifically, Joe, and make sure that it does and matches and is designed correctly.
Guys, you need to get the plans from Sussex and I don't know if the existing village engineer in Sussex has any idea about this.
Yeah, I have contacts over there
Okay.
besides, I know that the village engineer had retired since that other development.
All right, we'll keep on going. Sherry, do you have anything you'd like to add at this point?
I guess just a question on Joe's comment about the bike path going along the back part of lot 6 or in the right of way of behind lot 6. On the landscape plan that is, I'm sorry, I can't read the sheet number here, L200. It looks like there's going to be landscaping in that area.
We'll have a landscape easement on the back of lots 1 through 6. So yes, there'll be landscaping and the path will come through an opening in the landscaping.
Okay.
Out to, yeah.
It was hard to tell from on the one sheet how that would fit in there.
Would you want to pass them Lake Drive?
I don't think it's feasible with all the wetlands. I'm not even sure that all these lots are feasible with all the wetlands.
All right, Sean, anything else?
Joe, everybody, it's been pretty thorough, so I have nothing to add.
Kurt, are you set? All right, Brian?
I had a request that when you're picking out names for Court A and Court B, please don't use the word autumn.
Granted.
That's my only request.
Will oblige.
All right, you're good. Is it, anyone else have anything, or if not, are we ready for a motion? Again, this is not on the preliminary plat. This is only on the cul-de-sac length waiver.
I move to approve the request for a waiver to exceed the maximum cul-de-sac length for the proposed Alpine Hills subdivision on the parcel known as LSBT 0224-999-003 with any engineering comments or planners comments.
I'll second.
Can you include the findings that are described in the FOIA report? And the ordinance has specific findings that need to be made.
You include engineers' comments and planners' comments and
make the findings described in the planner's report to support the.
All right,
Yeah.
and that's fine with the second?
That's fine with the second.
All right. Any additional discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Nay, I had one nay. Okay, did I just Sean was nay, or Joe, did you nay?
I did.
I nay too.
All right, so the motion passes 5-2.
I got it.
You got it? All right. All right, so then next we are on to the preliminary plat for the same development and the recommendation to the village board of the same. Oren's already made his comments.
I've got a red pickup truck, but that's not it. It's not a Raptor.
Is it red?
Like a Studebaker.
All right, I think we found it. Thank you. All right, so on this item, we've had the discussion which has crossed over. Is there any other comments, again, on the preliminary plot? If not, is someone ready to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat request of Newman Developments for the property located at the southwest corner of Silver Spring Drive, Berry Hill Road, subject to planners' comments, any conditions, and engineers' comments,
What about the county?
And
and county.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All right.
Brian?
do we need to include commission's comments on that too, that were not included in the planners or the counties or the engineers' comments? such as the additions of the bike lane designation.
Yeah, is that fine with the, okay, and is that fine with the second? All right. You got that? Well, Elisa?
Hang on. What were you gonna say, Eric?
What is the condition on the bike lane exactly?
That it, and then that the bike, that the additional description of,
Proper labeling,
yes.
proper labeling on the plat, preliminary plat, designating that outlot as a bike path and designating the area behind lot 6 as a bike path. Correct, Joe? Okay.
Right, so the person
Got it.
making the motion, seconding that understands, Orin, Lisa, everyone
Yep.
understands that? Okay. You got it, you're comfortable?
Yep.
All right. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Hey,
All right, so motion carries 5-2.
Joe and Sean, yes?
yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Planner reports, Orin, anything you want to highlight here relatively quickly?
Nope.
No. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Well moved. So second.
So,
Too many people talking. The motion.
Rob made the motion, Brian seconded, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carried, we're adjourned at 7:45. We'll take a 5-minute recess before starting the next meeting.
For those of you who are on Zoom, if you would like to participate in the next meeting, which is the joint Village Board Plan Commission Public Works Committee meeting, you will need to click the link on the agenda for that meeting, which is on Lisbon's website under the Village Board agendas on the Agenda
I
Center.
mean, you're just gonna hear from.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be
I'm gonna join.
whatever.
Staff and
So
forth.